No.
Maybe he just came from church.
Maybe he came from church. Okay.
Well, maybe.
Okay, but you see what I'm saying now? When I go there and I want to get a true picture, you know, do I tell them, hey, I'm going to shoot? You know, I want you to, you know, what do I say? What would I say to them? I don't want to tell them what to wear, but yet I don't want them to come and give me, you know, the New York look.
You don't want to come by.
Out on the farm.
Just say,
no, you don't want to come by. No.
I'm here with my camera.
No.
Oh, my house is dirty.
Yeah, well, no, you know, I'd give a chance that way, but I don't. Could I say that I wouldn't want you to come in with your New York look, you know, with the tie and the coat? I want the farm look.
I'd let them come whatever way they wanted to come.
Yeah.
I don't think the man. He probably don't own a suit.
He does.
Does he?
Yeah. I mean, but then again, I mean, like what is that? Is that like an expectation?
We're saying, or yeah, okay, I see what you're saying there.
I just think, you know, they're just natural, normal people. You know, they're not out to showboat or whatever.
Yeah, but
they're mellow.
Yeah.
Well, just people would react to you differently, and I wouldn't. I don't know if I would.
But that's part of their. If they feel that that's the time to dress up, and that's the way they are.
Just don't put no film on the camera.
That reminds me of. I believe it's McCarthy's rule. I gotta check.
Yeah.
You know that the best stuff always goes on when you're changing film or changing tape. People start opening up and they get natural. It's in a way that's really so true. But I mean, this really starts getting into, I think, some very important basic points about what it means, you know, to do the kind of things that we're intending to do. You know, what is your impact on those people? You know, what do you represent? You know, how do they? Does their perception of you affect their presentation of self? And vice versa. And I mean, it you see it.
How were you dressed when you came?
No, I just about like this. I usually try and maintain what I call a neat, casual look, not too freaky, not too conservative. You know, I mean, I've got my looks to contend with. I don't have to. Anybody got a light?
Yeah.
Well, I was, you know, I can hear that film over there. I know it's about snake handlers.
Right.
I'm just wondering if
Serpent handlers.
Yeah,
they don't like to be called snake handlers.
They don't like snakes. They like serpents.
Right.
I'm just wondering if they put on an extra big show for y'all when you went and filmed that. They look really drastic.
I don't think so, because the preacher's wife got burned, didn't she?
Well, no, that was a girl from Michigan.
No. She was the one who was handling the fire.
Coca-Cola bottle?
Right.
I thought they were outsiders.
Those were the ones who were outsiders. They were from a holiness church up in Michigan. They'd seen about the thing on some network news. That was back in '73 when those two people died down at Newport, and Jack Schrader and Tom Burton made that film about it. We've got to look at that thing again here.
I'd like to see that.
I mean,
I would like to see how they did it.
Because that was a one-student project. I didn't do it. That was an undergraduate in anthropology here, and he was working with me and with Mrs. Powers, and got the idea of looking at the thing in what we call ethno-scientific terms. Like, here's a phenomenon that the outside world really considers bizarre. You know, how do the insiders perceive it? How do they justify it? How do they rationalize it? And how can you? Yeah, right. How can you get at that with, you know, using this kind of methodology, this kind of technique?
But couldn't it be very easy for human nature to put on a super show?
We all do it. We all do.
Yeah,
we do it all the time.
But how can we get I don't know what the word I want.
Over continuous study, then you can weed out what's
weed out the junk and put it, you know, and see the. I'm more interested in the real life type thing. I don't want. I guess you'd have to. You came and know these guys, okay? But see, here we are. We're going to go and we're going to meet somebody for the first time. We're going to work with them a few times, and then we're going to go and shoot. You know, it'd be very easy for human nature to put on a good front without, and then not get a correct interpretation of what's going on.
That's why extended study is the best way to do it.
Oh yeah, well that. But
well,
how do we? Yeah, but how
Well,
do
that's
we
right.
how do we
That's-
alleviate this problem now in this situation?
By for one thing, in a practical sense, finding out what kinds of grants we can get you people so that you can do extended work. I mean, seriously.
Well, if we did get a grant, like, would we be able to use the equipment here, and they would just maybe supply money for us to buy film with and stuff like that? Or would they buy us a camera? You know?
Maybe we'd really, I mean, seriously, if we want to go ahead with the thing beyond, you know, what we're talking about, which is basically going out one time and you know, visiting the people and kind of doing that preliminary visit and then going back and doing the taping session. And then after that, we're going to show it. What we'd like to do is put together what material that we get when we do our shoot out there and then show it back to the family, get their response on how they feel about it. I mean, there's a certain validity in that approach. I think we'll get a chance anyway to see some of the potential of the medium of the technique in building up you know, the kind of situation that can lead to you know, in-depth, you know, valid kind of information concerning a group of people like that.
But see, what I was saying was I was just trying to have a, like for a television camera or something like that, I would be more apt to put on a front than for a photography, you know, for pictures, for photography type thing. I was just saying, I was just trying to figure out what would be the best way to get the people to feel at ease and give me a correct interpretation of what they're doing. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I think what that comes down to is kind of like what I was saying at the beginning. We have to really become so comfortable with this technology ourselves that we can interact naturally using it.
Yeah.
You know, like look what's going on now. Okay, in a way we're doing something that's kind of valid. If valid is the word I want. I'm not sure. But like, okay, you all are now, I think, relating to me in more or less of a natural kind of situation than you were.
I'm doing it for the camera.
Well, you might well be, but then again, you're not looking straight into that camera, you know. I mean, we're conscious enough of that camera, like, you know, we've got a dialogue going on between, you know, ourselves, and, you know, Barbara is there, and she's miking the thing, and Ben is there, and, you know, he's got the camera on us, and this is being recorded, and we could play this, you know, right back and see, you know, how we're relating to each other, and that interaction situation, you know, we've got an objective record of it, and that thing could be analyzed. And you know, then the question is, you know, what techniques are appropriate?
Okay.
You know, for you know, what kinds of data? Certainly we've got information here on small group interaction and kind of also on presentation of self, and I'm sure there's probably some significance into what seats we've chosen and like that.
What about what happens if I see myself on TV and I say I don't like it, I don't want you to show that? Well, what do I do then?
Then you don't do it. I mean,
and then you have to, but see, then again, you wouldn't get a true picture. Somebody, okay, let's shoot it again, and I'll be this way, and I'll be that way, and I'll be this way.
Well, you know,
shoot out a blank tape.
All right, you know, but that's the thing about tape too. I mean, you can erase the tape.
I don't think you're going to run into that much trouble.
You know, the thing is that if you have a good, okay, if you've got built up a good rapport, and like this is a case where you got, you know, talking about that extended time, you know. I was there, you know, for a long time. They got to know who I was. So when I came in with this alien intrusion, it wasn't that alien. And then by making the thing, you know, comprehensible, not being nervous about the thing, not making a mystery out of it or a big deal out of it. That's the thing. You can minimize that technology. You got to have the command of the technology, but you got to minimize it too. I mean, if you're going to go to the point where you want the product is more important than the process, if you follow me, then you may get something that looks good but doesn't tell you that much. Am I making sense there? Mm-hmm. And I had a real good example of this. I don't want to name names, but this friend of mine who is a professor of art at a school up in New York State, and art. Whenever I hear the word culture, I reach for my pistol. Now that's a story in itself. But let me tell this story. This guy has he lives up in New York State. He's one of the leading figures in the urban folk music revival. He's done a lot of collecting, he's put out a lot of records, done a lot of films. Very, you know, experienced kind of person in a way. Okay, he was doing this film about 4 summers ago and asked me if I knew any people who were really old, genuine old-time musicians that he could get into this film. It would be old-time musicians from all over the United States. Okay, so he comes down to East Tennessee, visit old Richard, right? And this had been about a year after we had gotten into starting the videotaping with the Pains. And, okay, he comes down, he's got, I got the words right, he got an eclair, is that right, a camera, eclair? Or an Arriflex or something like that, big 16mm sound camera. He's got a stereo Nagra, you know. And okay, we're over in the Payne's kitchen, you know, and the whole family is there, you know, Mr. Payne and Lloyd and Sid and Bill Baines, a buck dancer from up at Fairview, and George's son-in-law. And we're all in there, and, you know, we're carrying on playing music and dancing. And I said, where is he? Where is he? This is the real thing that's going on, you know. And I expected him to show up at a certain time, you know, this absolutely genuine, you know, kitchen party, you know, genuine folk event, you know, as genuine as it can be is going on there. You know, why aren't we recording? Okay, he shows up with his sound man. Whoa. Dead silence. You know, everybody looks at them. They don't know who these people are. And this whole thing, which had built up, you know, just subsides. And then, it's really a story. They don't have a lighting kit, so they have to shoot outdoors. So we move the people outdoors. And this guy has he's an art professor, right? He's a photographer. You know, he has this very graphic visual kind of sense. And to get, you know, he has this expensive camera, he has this expensive tape recorder, he has this very expensive color film, you know. We're talking about something that's at least 10 times as much, you know, as what we're talking about in black and white videotape for sure. You know, let's not talk about, you know, technical quality, we'll talk about money for a while. But anyway, you know, he has got to get that good product. So, you know, he does this setup. And he gets Lloyd and George, you know, in a couple of setups and shoots them playing a couple of tunes. And, you know, he shoots all he can afford to shoot, and, you know, they put the camera away, and then it happens all over again. They start playing music and dancing, you know. And, you know, what I kind of learned from that was there are several things there. One, of course, everybody's going to have different, you know, approaches and intentions in doing this kind of work. This man who came in, you know, I have tremendous respect for his knowledge and his expertise, but he was after a product. What I was interested in was not so much the product as the process. And that, I don't know, I'm running out of steam a little bit. You follow what I'm getting at?
Okay, now here's another thing. What happens, like, you have somebody that's doing something that's you know, there's action there, there's a banjo, this guy's playing it, you know. Okay, what happens if you deal with something that has to deal with folklore or something like that that doesn't have any action in it? What do? You sit there and they tell you all these kind of stories, you know, they light up their pipe, and, you know, to me it doesn't seem like it would get the attention of too many people that would sit down and watch it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you know, what do you do?
You know,
well, I know it's not entertainment, but yet it's got to be, if it's going to be, I like to see something that has something in it as well as that I can learn from it at the same time. You see what I'm saying?
You're looking for a product.
No, I'm not looking for a product. I'm looking for something that will teach, but yet will, you know, I'd rather have you tell me something going on here, because, you know, you're not like somebody that sits up there behind a pulpit or behind a thing, a podium, and wah 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 wah. You know, and I don't get anything out of it. You know, it shoots over my head. But, you know, you sit down with us, you goof, you talk, you know. And that way you can
flake out.
Yeah, you know, and you can learn stuff that way. Whereas if you get somebody sits behind a podium and just speels off a long speech to you, you don't get that much out of it.
Well,
you see what I'm saying?
No, I don't see what you're saying, because who's going to be behind the podium?
Well, that's what I mean. This guy's going to be sitting here, and he's just going to be sitting here telling me a bunch of stories.
Yeah, but we're not watching this for our entertainment. We're watching this to get the facts of what he's saying and to get a picture of what's in the background.
Okay, yeah, but this kind of leads us into a thing too. What are, you know,
What are we aiming for?
I mean, we're talking about potentials of the medium, but I think we also have to consider limitations. And there's another thing that comes into that too, getting into that process and product thing, is, you know, what kind of expectations are we carrying into a documentation situation? You know, we may not necessarily have picked up a camera, but all of us have watched a lot of film. I know we've all watched a lot of TV. We have an idea, you know, I think very firm ideas that we may not be that conscious of right yet, of what things ought to look like, you know, in terms of a visual presentation. And I think this affects it too. And, you know, like, a thing like this is, okay, it's basically of kind of scholarly interest. I've got a document there that I can use to look at banjo styles. I can use it too, in a way, for, you know, illustrative purposes, kind of as I'm doing now, to kind of bring out things about the man's style. You know, that's one level. I can bring out the cultural content. I can also bring out something of the process. But like what you're, you know, the thing is that it is visually engaging to a degree, you know, and like I had one student who did an hour tape of this wonderful traditional storyteller over at Banner Elk named Marshall Ward, and it was a pretty rigid kind of shooting situation. In fact, you know, she just came in on a very close zoom on the man, and you couldn't even see the whole man's body pretty much, or the gestures. And he was telling wonderful stuff, but, you know, it still didn't have that thing, you know. And when I showed segments of this to, you know, some professional folklorists, they said, "Where's the interaction?"
Yeah, okay, that's
you know, where's
yeah.
the interaction? You know, what would be much more effective if you could do it is get into a situation where people are getting together to tell stories.
Yeah.
You know, and get what's going on, you know, between the, you know, like, let's say, like, essentially what's going on in this kind of situation. Get the reactions, how people are responding. You know, there's, let's see, let's,
I was just trying to figure out the what would be more valuable and what we are going to do. Would it be to bring in the equipment, and or would it be just to have tapes of it? See, the thing is, I can't. This equipment here, like, I'm getting pictures of all these, you know, of this person just sitting down and I'm interviewing them for a half hour.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, I guess I don't know what to do with it after I've got it. Do I edit it? Do I cut it? Or do we, you know, do I just take parts of it, or what?
If you edit it, you're looking for a product. That means, you know, you just watch it. You know, just watch
Okay, what happens if the guy goes to the bathroom? You know what I, you know?
Well, cut you a film off.
Okay, but then again, I'm editing it.
Be sure to
Wouldn't that be an edit?
Well, yeah, you can cut parts out.
You see,
and
that's
stuff
what I
are
meant.
irrelevant.
I didn't mean by looking for a special product. I was just, you know, the things that would be kind of.
I'd take a picture. If he wanted to go, I'd just follow him right on.
See how he,
I would, you know.
See how he walks? He's got
And then you could maybe just pan some pictures of his establishment there, you know.
walk out the front door, get the rolling hills.
No, seriously though, you know.
You know, you see, I'm just trying to figure out what's, I guess, the more value for me. I guess I have a problem with just sitting down with somebody and taking a moving picture of them and talking to them as an interview, because I guess maybe I am looking too much for a product and not the
You
process.
want something spectacular.
I don't know. I don't think I want something spectacular. I just want something that will.
But what we're doing here is not making a movie for the enjoyment of the public.
Right, that's true.
We don't care if the guy just sits there. We want to get down what he says, and to do that we can rerun the tape back. Almost
Okay,
like
that's what I'm saying. Is this
the visual
is
part
this-
is only just to get a general idea of
what's going on? Okay, so all it ends up is doing is having a manuscript of it, right?
Document.
Right? Is that what we're aiming for? Is a manuscript, or are we aiming for a videotape of something that?
We're not getting something to go on Channel 2.
Oh no.
This is more our archive.
This is for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is for us. And that's what I'm trying to, you know, what is it? You know, what do I?
It's according to what angle you're going to take it from.
Yeah, that's the thing too. You know, what do we want?
I wouldn't do the
We want a
visual
portrait
part
of.
then.
You know, there's so many possibilities. Actually, when you think about it, you know, what can you get? Like the thing I have, you know, just in mind, one possibility is try and get a kind of portrait of the man. You know, the man and his music and his place and his background. You know, kind of a life history approach. But I mean, you could take any one of those aspects and build on those, and there's other aspects in that individual, which don't come into that at all, which could be pursued too. Do you want to get material that could, let's say, be for analytical purposes? Okay, there's that level. You could go at it that way. You could go at it in a documentary sense, and you could also very well go at it in terms of maybe shooting for a presentation, something that is a celebration of an individual and a culture, something that you might want to put on Channel 2. Of course, you can't put this black and white video on, but you might
broadside.
Put it on broadside. Well, it's been on broadside for sure. That's one of the original functions of that whole idea is to provide an outlet for material that isn't broadcastable, and that's a story in itself.
Are we going to watch some of this back that he's showing here, or is it?
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful.
I think it would too, because a lot of people just never been around camera much.
Or never seen themselves on TV.
Yeah.
I'm on the Bozo show.
Bozo show? Are you kidding me?
I want to say hi, Mommy, hi, Daddy.
I was in India, and he said, he says, "What do you have there, Johnny?" I said, I was really scared, I said, "It's a loincloth."
A loincloth?
Now, we went into just exactly what we were going to do, and I had it down. That's what I was going to say, a loincloth. I thought that's all he was going to say. He says, "What's a loincloth?" And I went, "Oh, no." Here's the camera going, I said, "Oh, I guess it's kind of like pants that the Indians wear." And everybody, Bozo cracked up, and the ape that was with Bozo cracked up, and the whole, yeah.
Mr. Bill freaked out, Logan.
I didn't think it was that. I was embarrassed. I didn't know actually what the definition of a loincloth was. He said, "Sort of like pants that the Indians wear," and everybody thought that was funny, except me.
Was that in color?
I don't remember.
Oh boy.
Can I ask something while we got? There's a tea kettle back there. Is that a stove? The
Yeah,
black thing?
that's-
They use that. They cook on it.
That's a heating stove, Franklin stove. They've got an electric stove too.
I thought.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of details that you can really. That's another thing too,
Yeah, I noticed the bank calendar.
Right, that you can really start to pick up on, in doing a film or a videotape. One of the things, I don't know, I had bad experiences as a youth with projectors where you try and stop a frame and look at it and then you burn a hole. We do that with video. That's one of the nice things about it. You do wear off a little bit of the oxide though each time you do that. So I'm using a copy there rather than an original. Really try and keep the originals intact and not mess around with them too much. But okay, how many people would like to go out Sunday? Let's see. Can you manage?
Well, it all depends on what time and when I get back.
Okay, what time would be good?
In the afternoon, but well, no, because I have to pick up my wife at 2:30 from work.
Oh gosh.
That's right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I sent my wife to Florida 3 years ago, ain't so.
What a vacation. No, really, if it's just, I can make it up sometime. Maybe I'll just go over with you or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could work something out with.
Saturday be better than Sunday?
Now, not this Saturday. That would be.
Yeah.
That would be. I'd be stuck again.
Well, I don't know. I was.
I mean, don't hold for me, because I can work something out.
I was thinking. Well, yeah. I was kind of thinking if we could, if you all could get out to my place around noon or a little bit after, that we could spend the afternoon with them and get away before dinner or supper. I get confused on those terms too, because afternoon is evening around here. I you know what I mean?
I always
have a
say
hard time.
dinner, and they say, "Well, I'm going home and eat supper."
Yeah.
But I had supper
A lot of people
already.
say dinner is lunch.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Yeah.
what I think.
I use it both.
Yeah. Those-
I was gonna say I'm gonna go eat.
But I tell you, you can really get into things like these subtle little dialect differences can really create problems. Like you probably heard this one before, but I'll tell it anyway. When we first moved into this house out in Sulphur Springs, well, I needed some plumbing work done, and got the name of a good plumber in Sulphur Springs from a man who fixed up the house we bought from him. Called him up. He said, "Could you get out here sometime this week to work on your plumbing, on my plumbing here, rather?" And he said, "Well, I don't care to." I said, "Well, if you don't care to, I'll call someone else. I don't want to put you in any trouble." He says, "No, I don't care to." I said, "Well, that's okay." And it took a while, to figure out that "I don't care to" in this man's dialect meant exactly the opposite of what it meant in my dialect. When up north, when we say "I don't care to," it means I don't want to do it. And when people around here say "I don't care to," it means, well, I don't mind doing it. It doesn't bother me to do it. And like you kind of cues and expectations. Really.
What do you think when he came?
It's been a long time. Been a long
Strange
time.
people.
Strange people.
Then he asked you to help, you said you didn't care to.
Please. It's too true. Too true.
We could rig up a carrot.
Around 12, somewhere in that vicinity. And what time is it anyway?
Time to go.
It's
It's
almost
about 10 till.
Class to be on.
Okay, we're going to
I
have
want
to
to see myself. I see how I did.
Okay, you want to see a little bit of this tape?
Yeah, you want to play back?
Okay, let's play back some.
I'll go feedback. It tells me.
Turn the lights on.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
We may need a little help in breaking this stuff down. This is borrowed on a day-to-day basis, and we've got to get this straightened out too. It's gonna...
Wooden bucket in, 2/3 full of liquid, moonshine. Set it on the table and put a gourd in it. Now the man of the house would say, "Now, boys and girls, you can drink all you want of that, but the person gets drunk will have to go out down the road. He won't come back to the knee." Boy, they didn't nobody get drunk, but they had a good time. You go and get that old gourd and drink it. I was pretty small then.
It reminds me of what you told me about the corn shuckings.
They'd have a corn shucking and put a gallon of liquor in the middle of the fall. Or had to put the shucks and keep the shucks away. Had no pin rail and planks to walk up on. We'd get a big armful and go up there and fall in them shucks. We had a big time too. People enjoyed themselves back then. It ain't like it is now. Not a bit more than that.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot, the way things have changed. Because
Yeah.
like when you were growing up, it seemed like so many people just pretty much had to make do for themselves, and it wasn't just the food, it was the entertainment as well. And
Yeah,
it's just changed so much.
yeah, it's changed off. And then what a car thought about or an airplane back them days,
Yeah.
People had to ride the horses or walk. First time I ever went to Greenville, I was pretty small. Up Main Street there, my horse waded mud up to his knees. Just old nasty mud. I took a sick headache. And I thought I was going to die, and I went to the store and he gave me something, and It knocked me out for a little bit, and I got all right. Boy, the nicest thing, looking stuff over I looked at. Well, he scattered all up on the buildings way up, splattered.
Yeah.
One more side.
I remember you telling me about those, I wish I could remember the names too, but those two fellows who came in one time on the mules and shot up Greenville.
Yeah. Back to Shelton and St. Briggs. I know both of them well. They went in Greenville and got them some whiskey and got on the mule. Went up and down Main Street and put everybody in the house. They just shut Greenville dry. Well, they got after him. The sheriff got a bunch of people and they just had them old single barrel guns back then that shot one cottage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got after them 15 from Greenville. And they was riding mules.
Uh-huh, a posse.
They lived in North Carolina. And
Yeah.
they'd run a little piece on their mules and jump off of them and take the rest off the harness saddle and shoot back at them.
Mm-hmm.
One feller, he laid down an old fence rail and was shooting at them, and they shot through the fence rail, and the splinter hit him in the face, and he thought he was shot. He left his gun laying there and run. And they got the rough on them. They got to the river and they took to the woods. Next morning, me and my daddy went to the store. We met them walking, going to North Carolina. They had a pistol in, each one of them had a pistol in his hand, the box cutters in the other. They had a light and they said, "Good morning, gentlemen." Went on North Carolina and they got two boys to come back out there and get their mules at the river.
Mm-hmm.
And them boys come back out there and got their mules. They took out a bank warrant for them. Go over there and get them dead or alive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They heard it. They got them in Winchester each. This Greenville crew went and they met at a big Shelton Law, a big creek. They stopped on the inside, the men did, and the officer stopped on this side. Said, "Men," said, we'll talk to you." Said, "We ain't gonna be arrested." Said, "We'll die." Said, "We'll shoot it out with you. We ain't gonna be arrested."
Mm-hmm.
Said, "We'll shoot it out with you." Well, the law said, "We ain't wanting that." Said, "We got to do something about what you all done in Greenville." Well, it said, we'll go and submit to it. We'll submit to it and pay it off. We won't be arrested. Well, they agreed on it. They went to Greenville and submitted it. Paid it off. Yeah. One of them went to Marshall, North Carolina after that and got drunk. Fell off his mule up on top of the mountain at a little old dripping spring. Where he fell off at, and it's awful cold and there's snow on the ground. The mule went home and left him laying there. Well, he had to find liquor in his pocket, and it's so cold he couldn't get it open. And he's about to freeze to death. And he picked it on a rock, kept pecking it till he got a little hole picked in.
Mm-hmm.
And he take a little sup of that, and they found him at 8 o'clock next morning up there. And got him, took him home, and he had to have his feet took off.
Oh, gee. Lay there all night and froze?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, took him off right there. Both of them. I knowed him well.
Gosh. There are some pretty rough customers around in
Oh,
the
boy.
Shelton Laurel, especially from what
Oh
I've heard.
boy. Well, one got it in for you, you just well look out, you had to kill him or he'd kill you. That's the way it went.
Did you ever have to tangle with any of them?
He'd get a grudge after you did. Boy, I'll tell you right now, you had to do something.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking, you're talking about mules. you saw mule drives. Didn't they have mule drives coming right past your daddy's
Yeah,
farm?
they'd bring sometimes 75 going to South Carolina to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And one time, they killed 7 niggers over there. Every nigger that went through North Carolina, they killed him. They killed 7. And there's a nigger with this here big bunch of mules. They stopped and was asking my daddy. He had a big porch like that and out there, right close to the road. How far it was to Ashland, all such as that. Daddy told him. Daddy said to that nigger, he was behind the white man. Says, ain't you afraid to go through North Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
He says, I don't know. He says, why? Well, my daddy said they're killing everyone that goes through there. Lord of mercy, I ain't going. He got off on his mule, or his horse. He said, I'm going back to Greenville. Well, the man that had the mules, he said, no, you ride your horse back. And he said that he just walked and you let him take the horse on. No, he said, you take that horse on back. He got on the horse and went back to Greenville. These men, they went to South Carolina, sold a mule and come back and had to stay all night in South Carolina. Well, they put them upstairs. They said they went to bed and they smelled something bad. They got up and looked under the bed and there lay a man dead on there. Well, that scared them to death.
Say
the least.
They said, now this man told Eddie he stayed all night with my daddy. He told it so. And he said they had a gun apiece. Said they went downstairs. There were 2 big niggers before the fire, stretched out on the floor. He said they just had their pistols out in their hand. They told them niggers if they moved, they'd kill them. And they stood there and guarded them till they fight. And daylight come, they went and got on their horses and get out of there. Yeah, they come back and stayed all night with Daddy. They're telling about it. That used to be terrible over there. I left out of there and moved on Chucky River. There's a young nigger boy, he's grown. I had to go out there one day and he said, I never have seen the mountains, I want to go with you. Well, I said, you can go, but I said, they don't like colored people out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he said, they won't bother me. Nothing to do but go. Just as I drove up there at my daddy's, there come 2 men walking from North Carolina. Got down there and stopped. One of them, the nigger got out of me out of the car. I had an OT motor. One of them pulled his gun out. He said, all right, coon, knock me off one. Oh, he says, I can't dance a step. Nigger pulling at me, trying to keep me away from him. They tore my clothes plumb off, and shirt and overalls. I just danced as I could be, but I just...
How can you fight like that?
I just fit right on.
Wait a minute.
Have you heard this before?
No.
I had to go home, I asked Mom. And I took one of them overalls, I pinned it around me. I met a woman. My body wasn't a thing but blood, but they didn't have a scratch on me. I had blood off the other man. She come up screaming, holler. I said, don't holler. I said, I ain't hurt, don't holler. Got her stumped from hollering. Boy, I think we had some awful times up there.
It ain't like the Waltons, is it?
No. It's for real, I guess. It is. Like that story about the colored feller and those guys coming up on him and saying, it's like those cowboy movies. Dance. That's the thing. They really did it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There was another thing I was thinking about.
Yeah, they call them people over in North Carolina Tar Heels. They was Tar Heels then. Wasn't better not fool for no neither.
Well, so I gotta put this somewhere. Yeah. Okay. Pretty good shot. How about a little bit of Whoop the Devil Around the Stump?
Yeah, we ain't played that yet, have we?
No. I got a little bit lost there towards the last. That's a good old tune though. Whoop the Devil.
Is there written music for this? Do they have like authors and stuff? Do they know who wrote them?
Some of them, but a lot of it, I guess, is just made up in people's heads.
Settle back or down. You play that one? My granddaddy had 11 children. There's another man lived close to him that had, he had 7 girls and 1 boy.
Uh-huh.
When they all got together, there's a crowd of them. They lived pretty close together. His 3 had 7 girls. shade shelter. He come one night with him over there at my granddad, and they had a corn shucking and a play that night. They was playing twisting the floor slick where they put that meal, you know. And one of the girls fell. This old man, he was old. He had his beard way down here, just gray as it could be. He jumped up, said, "Girls, just go." Dad snap it. The boys can't sling yuns down. Oh, they said they never slung her down. She fell herself. They had times that old man told them girls that. Oh yeah, he got off of that. Yeah, I can't sling my girls down.
Sounds like a good name for a song.
Can't sling my girls down. Yeah.
There's another old man out there, he run for a magistrate. And he got elected. He didn't know A and B in the book. But he was a pretty sharp old man, you know. He knowed the law pretty well. And he had a big bunch of boys. They was grown. They went to bed and they all got in bed, and one of the boys said, "Hey, Dad." He said, "What, son?" Said, "Are we all masters now?" He said, "No, son, nobody but me."
Did you meet your wife through playing your banjo?
Huh?
Did you meet your wife through playing your banjo? Like entertaining people and stuff? How'd you meet your wife?
Oh, I was playing the banjo good, and she lived about 2 miles off where I did. I went with her 2 years before we married. I knowed all about her, and she knowed all about me.
I guess by now you certainly do.
Yeah. Well, so we never have had no fuss. We got along good, but everything that I done, she's agreed to it, and things she done, I agreed to it. We ain't had no fuss at all. We just got along awful good. And we had 9 children.
Yeah.
Two's dead. Had a set of twins. License, we had a set of twins, 2 boys. One of them died. Frank, he's a twin, he lives in Akron, Ohio.
Yeah. How many are there in your family? I mean,
Girl.
How many did I'd like to go ahead and get that dancing doll out so they all could see it.
Yeah.
I love those things.
Now this is something different.
Is it?
This is something real different.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Here's some of those.
I don't think there's more than one.
Oh, wow.
This is a Payne family original.
You didn't get that?
Just pretty near.
All right. Make him bow.
Me face the camera. You want to try picking little and I'll play it and then I'll fiddle a little and you play.
All right.
see. Should I fiddle or should I pick the banjo? You can try the banjo.
No, my boy made it for me. I made them, but I'm too blind. Now, I made them with the thighs on them just like people, you know, when I made them. He made the legs here too slim.
I think there's one of them still.
Is that arthritis or is it?
I invented that when I was 16 years old. I had a long porch and I had the road about as close to that, and I fixed it on the porch and had a string tied up there to its head, you know.
Uh-huh.
I'd see somebody coming, I'd go in the house and beat him, he'd get angry. Nobody around, you know. People would stop and look at it. There's a woman stopped there one day and she laughed till she cried right there in the back. Nobody around. I had most fun out of that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had all kinds of things going on out there. There's a big branch come down behind the house. And the water, it come off the rocks, you know.
Uh-huh.
Well, I fixed a little old flutter mill. Got some plows, different plows, and put big nails in the ends of them, you know, and that thing wheel and turn that and let that come down and hit them plows, you know, 2 or 3.
Uh-huh.
It's just like 2 or 3 are working in a blacksmith shop. Them plows are ringing. People come along riding, walking. They'd stop and look up there and look and look. Couldn't see a thing. Some of them asked me what that was going on. I'd beat anything I ever could. I was all the time doing something like that. One time there's an old man, he, instead of putting out a crop, he just hunted all some squirrel hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I studied up a plan how to scare him. He'd go before daylight. Big holler there where we lived, he'd go up and hit and stay up there all day. There's a path went out through there. I made an old man, you know, and stuffed him, fixed him up, got an old hog rifle gun, fixed it up in his arm, just ready to shoot. He come along before daylight and run into him. He come back running when Dad hadn't got up. He got my daddy up and said, "Hey, John." My dad knowed what was going on. He said he'd come out with a big cuss, but don't you know that a nigger over there had a gun thrown over me? Oh, he said, "You know better than that, Jeff." Oh, he said, "I'll swear it's so." Just come and go with me. I'll show you. You know, my daddy said if he's got a gun, I ain't going over. You know that old man went back home? I figured him up right.
Yeah, it's all coming out in the wash, isn't it?
I'd like to see them old days come back, young man like I was.
Well, it'd be something if it happened.
Yeah, it would. Would be something.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky to live as long as I live. Go through what I've went through.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Very few that do that.
I went through shooting scrapes, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Till I got shot, I went to the office to get my pay, and I was just paid off once a month. There's a man that's standing at the foot of the steps. And I didn't know there was any trouble going on. I walked up beside him, I said, "Howdy." He just looked at me and never said a word. I seen there's something wrong. About that time when the gun went off in the house, he jumped sideways and they shot him in the arm here. There's no wagon sitting in front of the office. He run behind it, and that man, he emptied his gun at him.
Mm-hmm.
When he emptied his gun, why, he left there.
What was that, a holdup?
Another time,
They robbed him?
I was over to Hot Spring, North Carolina. I lived over there that summer. I was just a boy, and me and another boy was standing on the depot on the train. Somebody went and put about 100 torpedoes on the track, you know, above the station. And the train went over and just like blowing up the town.
Huh.
And, you know, that train man got out of the train, and us was two of us standing on the depot. He come out shooting at us. 32 splash. I jumped up and flashed 10 feet high. He thought we never done it.
Let's see. I think I'll put that thing back. It might take up a little bit too much room.
Yeah.
One for the road.
Is that hard to play?
Huh?
Is that hard to learn to play?
Huh?
Banjo?
No, that.
No,
Nope.
anybody can, any kind of music can keep time with that thing.
Knock over a teddy bear in the hat.
That's Mama's teddy bear.